I want to talk to you about how I unlearned dangerous lessons about masculinity. Now for me, originally, masculinity, like what it was all about, was really this. You check out that video, right? Doing something crazy, trying to show that I'm physically dominant. This was the projection of masculinity in my life in my younger years. I wanted to be the tough guy. I wanted to be good at this. I wanted to be afraid of nothing. I wanted to be, untouchable. And these are kind of things that we develop within ourselves because they were handed down from our parents, what the idea of a strong man was, right? You never cry, you never feel pain, you never, you just overcome everything.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Actually, I'm going to tell you a story of a time I used to get wood with my dad. My dad's a tough guy, and we would go get wood. He's a dentist. I called him a blue-collar dentist because he's the only dentist I know that would go out and chop wood all weekend with a chainsaw. And my dad would fell the trees and buck them, and then I would come behind and I would chop the wood with my axe and then stack it to dry for the season. We heated our house with wood. My dad was, I guess, a poor dentist. And that's what we did. And then I'm swinging away, chopping this wood up. And what happened was all of a sudden I come to and my dad is shaking me, calling my name. And he had fallen a tree and the very tip of it, just the last tip of this birch tree had whipped me right in the head and knocked me out cold. And my dad wakes me up and I come to. And I got a headache, and he looks in my eyes and he's like, oh, no concussion, let's get back to it. And we worked the rest of the day. And I was so pissed that my old man would make me work through that pain. Then the next week, we're back, and he's bucking up some trees, and the chainsaw kicks back and hits his knee and cuts his knee to the bone. I see his kneecap. And I get a tourniquet, and I wrap it around, I rip my shirt, and I wrap it around him, and I'm thinking, we are out of here. Day is done. Nope. My dad worked the rest of the day. That is, in my opinion, toxic masculinity. We did not allow pain of any kind to stop us from moving ahead. Now, if you're in a war, or if you are fighting to save your life, this is a good attribute. Outside of that, it becomes problematic. We need to allow ourselves space to act in a much different way in an environment that is not a survival environment, but an environment where we want to thrive. We need different masculinity. And to thrive, we got to understand how to change that. So I'm going to give you 3 things that you can use to identify and transform dangerous masculinity into something worthwhile. And the first step is knowing what dangerous masculinity is. Dangerous masculinity is the bravado. It is the facade that we put on of what it is to be a man. That veneer of strength, that veneer that says nothing can harm me, the veneer that says I'm dangerous, don't f with me. That is masculinity that is not healed. It is incapable of nuanced emotion. It is incapable of facing difficult challenges with openness and curiosity. Number 2 is understanding the purpose of dangerous masculinity. Because there's a reason we do this. This has been passed down from our fathers. When you think about history and the wars that we have faced, you think about our fathers and our grandfathers. We had World War I. We had World War II. We had the Korean War. We had the Vietnam War. We now have war continuing. And war creates trauma. It is a place of extreme uncertainty and violence. And death is imminent to everyone who enters the battlefield. And you must meet that with real violence. And it's in you. You can find it. It is appropriate when you're battling for your life to have this masculinity. It is not appropriate when you take it out of that space and put it in to say business life or life as a father or life as a friend. This is not the environment for war masculinity. So understanding that, knowing that there's a space, and knowing, man, we got this stuff handed down from our fathers who had lived in these spaces and did not have the tools to know how to switch out of that. That's where it comes from. There's nothing wrong with it when it's in its right place. The third tool is understanding what healthy masculinity is. If you don't have an archetype or someone that has taught you this, and you're struggling to know, what do I then shoot for? How can you get there? You have to visualize in your mind what it means to be masculine. And it's something that possibly, if you're like me, has to transform your concept of what's okay. You know, for me, as a man, I needed to know that I could fight you. I needed to know I could dominate you. I needed to know I could physically outperform you. All of these things were things that I hung on to. I began to understand that real masculinity, that healthy masculinity, that alpha male that we all want to be, that comes from a much more open and emotionally stable and safe person. So healthy masculinity takes what was required of us in times of great fear and great turmoil and transforming into something where you are a place of support, where you are a place where people can find strength, where you are a place where people can come to you and seek wisdom. Or they can come to you and give you feedback that might be critical and hard, and you have the capacity to hear it without being defensive, without getting angry, to just listen. Where you have the capacity to look within yourself and see where you're weak and accept it. Where you have the capacity to accept where you're strong without puffing that up. This is masculinity that is healthy. So I got a good story to kind of give you an example of the two different types of masculinity that you can face. I played sports as a kid. It was kind of a space for me where I felt secure, a lot of safety. And when I first started playing basketball, I was 11. I was in 6th grade. We didn't start early back when I was a kid. I'm old. So we started at 11. I played basketball on this team in my elementary school. And I stayed on the bench the whole season. My coach didn't think I was any good. And I practiced on 10-foot hoops, but I was playing on 8-foot hoops. And the last game of the season, I got in for the last 30 seconds of the game. I stole the ball and I shot because I'm like, I'm going to take a shot. And I shot the ball over the backboard. It was a terrible shot. I've been shooting on 10-foot hoops. And I was nervous and I was excited and my energy just shot that ball. It was a terrible shot. I was embarrassed. I came off the court, frustrated that I'd only played like 30 minutes for the whole season. And my coach says to me, "You are not a good basketball player. You're never going to be able to play basketball. This is not a game you should be doing." It crushed me. Crushed me. And I don't know if that man was trying to motivate me in that way or if he truly believed that. But I do know that he had a grudge against me because I was a troubled student and I was a problem in his class. And I think he just hated me and he was trying to put me in my place. And that's what men do when we're being toxic in our masculinity. Taking a little boy that you're frustrated with and crushing him in a moment when you have let him sit on a bench the whole season. Where's the value in that, right? Then I spent the summer, my brother, who's 6 years older than me, was on the team to be on in my hometown. He was a starter and he was really good. And he put on a basketball camp and I went to that camp and I was frustrated because he was being really helpful to a lot of people and I felt like I was getting beat up on and I was frustrated and whining. And he took me outside the gym and he said, "James, I want you to know that I'm being hard on you and expecting a lot out of you because you're really good and I think you can do more. So I want you to quit whining. I want you to hear what I have to say because you can be a good player if you'll allow that to happen. And the kindness that he showed me, it was firm, it was kind, it was honest, transformed my mind and allowed me to step up. And I became a starter on my team the next year. I went to a new school with a different coach. But that ability to see me struggling and not call me a wimp and not not diminish me and not say I was no good, but to build me. When I was whining, when I was being weak, he built me. It was an example that I held on to of real masculinity, something that supported me when I needed it, right? And I think we all need that. And that's a powerful thing that we can offer. We can offer that safety when we heal it within ourselves. So speaking of toxic masculinity, I have another video for you of how to heal masculine energy. Check it out. You might find something of interest. I know you're sitting at home watching these, so may as well just keep watching another video or make some comments below, man. Like, I want to hear what you have to say. What is your idea of masculinity? Have you seen this in your life? Have you got examples of good and bad? Make a comment and subscribe, like, watch some videos. Here comes the next video. I know you're binge watching, avoiding work today, so you may as well make it on my channel because I got good stuff for you.